Hi everyone, welcome to video 54, Heaven at 28%. I almost forgot to make the video today, but strangely, not strangely, I wasn't hungry. Of course I didn't work that much today, but I did walk a lot and I did go to a job, and it was hot out there, and I did what I was supposed to do. So it's 10:37 p.m. in Los Angeles, and hope you're having a great day. Welcome to video 54, Heaven at 28%, and let's touch on heaven. So we're getting almost 1/3 of the way to heaven. It's amazing that all this could happen in 100 days. At least there's some. Maybe it'll take 101. I remember too, Father would say that. When you get to the 100th, always go to the 101st. Like whatever you're doing, do one more. And so that catches. That's kind of like the influence that Reverend Moon would have on everyone. I think is that he would kind of like read things from inside your mind, and then have the ability to influence that, and it's awesome. It's wonderful to witness as a person at any age. And I was 21 when I met him, or when I first saw him in person, and yeah. So always go to the when you're at the last, you finally reached 100, do one more, or whatever it is, the last one. Always do one more. If you can. So maybe it'll take 101%. Maybe we'll go to October 15th. So, yeah. So I guess this 100% is these last 100 days of the establishment of heaven on earth, which I'm praying and hoping and expecting, is just a representative course of restoration in some way, that this could really happen. And of course I believe it will, otherwise I wouldn't even think about it. So I hope your day's going well and you're doing all the things that make your life more heavenly. I am changing what I listen to. It goes in. I listen to YouTube for hours and hours every day, and watch videos and listen to some audios, but more and more it's less about any of the supposed news. Anything that doesn't portray heaven is not of God. Why in the world would anyone pay any attention to anything that is not of God? So all this talk about who did this, who did that, what's this, how do we get to a better place? If people that come into the conversation, or into the news, or into the dialogue or commentary or video or whatever, are not consciously explaining how to increase love on earth, then we are being misled, and we are misleading ourselves if we're listening to it. And that's obviously not what we're taught, otherwise we wouldn't do it. But more and more, I'm just my spaghetti's boiling. One moment. Gotta pop the top because it gets pretty foamy and starts coming out the vent. That what is it called? The glutinous water starts. That's if I have a lot. That's not a very big bunch of spaghetti. I'm not that hungry, but I'm. Wait, what's in there? Oh, I'm making tea. I definitely don't need to cook my tea water. But yeah, and I'll probably add. Today I was watching a video of someone in Cairo, and they were talking about the food, and they were talking about cardamom. So that's something I want to get. I have turmeric. That's one of the ones I usually forget. And I have sage and basil, and I use oregano a lot, because I used to have oregano on bread with ketchup and cheese. course, can't eat cheese anymore. That's not, and the bread around here has got 88 ingredients, which are 101% toxic. So, but in Cairo, they make bread with just a few ingredients, and they hopefully it's not GMO, food, and people can stay healthy and still eat the food. Anyway, yeah. So they were using cardamom. As a matter of fact, they make coffee. It's a coffee shop, but they said it tastes more like spiced tea. They go in there when they're roasting the coffee and stuff and grinding it up, and it comes out looking yellow like tea. But it's a mixture of coffee and cardamom and other spices, I guess. And I guess it's like Constant Comment. Maybe that's a copy of Cairo cardamom. Anyway, I remember when Constant Comment came out. I think that's the flavor of the tea. I mean, that may be the brand. But anyway, the herb tea first came out, and it was so delicious. Wow, that was something else. And I guess maybe it's that tea, that coffee they drink in Cairo. They call it coffee because it has coffee beans in it. The guy said after he drank it, he's a young man with his wife or girlfriend or sister or something, and they're from Australia or New Zealand, and they're touring. They went to Cairo, and he said after taking a sip, he said, I wouldn't have thought there was any. He said if I didn't see them roasting and grinding the coffee beans, I wouldn't believe there was any coffee in here at all. so maybe there wasn't coffee in there. You think you'd taste coffee, but maybe they just have a mixture, and they know that maybe a good drink doesn't need as much coffee as we do here in the U.S., it seems to be maybe very acidic. And then they had before that the same day in the same video they had I think the same day anyway, Turkish coffee, and that was very rich. That was like a triple coffee in 3/4 of a cup of liquid. Anyway, so I guess they're not opposed to drinking strong coffee, but that's Turkish. That's not Egyptian. That's not Arabic. Arabian. Like the horse. Wow. In the future, people will know about the reality of where everybody comes from and how we will all speak one language at last. Oh my God. That is so needed. And hopefully the price of these translators in the meantime will come down. You can get a translator for $350, and I just found one, I think, for $300 or $290 or something like that, $249. Anyway, where supposedly it'll translate about 20 different languages, and I know the more expensive one does it online also. If you have Wi-Fi, then it'll source a translator, which of course is much better because they're constantly improving themselves, learning, and yeah, so yeah. So having a translator in the meantime, that will be really helpful. Then, and then the translators, though, I'm not sure how much they'll translate back and forth. Obviously, the technology is amazing when it comes to many things, but anyway, you can tell the nature of who's pushing technology by what gets pushed and what does not get pushed. So obviously, if we were trying to unify the world's languages, or unify the world's people and have them understand each other, then we'd already have a translator that would translate anything to anything in any language live. So you speak into it, and it speaks in whatever language you click, and then it'll speak. You can just, it's like two buttons. One is English to Filipino, and the other one's Filipino to English, or whatever language you want. And then you can listen, and then you'd learn so quickly, because you'd know. It's just like a child. A child anticipates the meaning inside their mind and their spirit. Nobody's explaining what it means because they have no language. So they learn a language from absolute zero, and God is translating the definition of the sentences by the feeling they get when the words are spoken. I mean, it's just amazing. So the closer we can imitate that, the better. So if we're thinking in a language we understand, then, I mean, it's better to learn it as a native from zero. That's the best way to learn any language. That's why we need one language. But, and I don't think it's going to be English. I don't think so. I mean, it should be Chinese because most people in the world speak Chinese already. I mean, by far, I think. I don't know exactly, but I'm sure it's probably 10 times more than any other language. Although English is supposedly the universal language, and yeah, I told you yesterday about the guy from Copenhagen, Denmark, on the train. He was with his wife and one of his daughters. He has another daughter and another son, and he spoke English very well. And his wife and his daughter, I think, spoke English as well. I didn't hear his daughter. She was about 12 or 14 or something. But his wife said a couple little things because I asked him a lot of questions about what he did. And they were traveling. They said they'd already been to the Grand Canyon. I'd never been to the Grand Canyon. They said they've been already to the Grand Canyon and to Las Vegas. They're a week here. Then they're going to Maui for a week because his son is getting married. His son met an American in Indonesia, and they both are now diving instructors in Maui, Hawaii. So I was pretty blown out of the water. That was pretty cool. Anyway, so then they're going back, and he does concrete and roof cleaning. He probably has his own company, I guess, to afford to travel like that. And then his other daughter, who wasn't there, she was living. Oh, she was going to come to the wedding also. I think she's from just still in Copenhagen. Anyway, so he was explaining. I asked him about the water, what's around Copenhagen. He said, "Well, right across the water is Sweden." And then I said, "Well, can you swim across?" He said, "No, no, no. It's about 14 kilometers, or 8 to 12. No, what is it? Oh, yeah, of course, depending at its narrowest point, maybe 8 kilometers or something." But I said, "There's a bridge, I guess," and he said, "Yeah, and it's a long bridge. It's like the Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge is 8 miles long. I think it is, yeah. It's got Yerba Buena in the middle, but that's just a tunnel. You can't. I mean, you can get off, but it's less bridge. But even without Yerba Buena is about maybe a quarter mile long. I think it's a quarter mile. It's all. I don't think there's any land to the bridge at all. I mean, the bridge hits the land and it's immediately in a tunnel because Yerba Buena is just a mountain, and it's got a. I think they had the World's Fair there once. That's what I think they did. That's why they built. Then there's this flat area, and that Yerba Buena is an island between San Francisco and Oakland in the San Francisco Bay, and the Bay Bridge goes via Yerba Buena. It's a bridge to Yerba Buena from the Port of Oakland, roughly wherever between Alameda and Berkeley, and then you go through that tunnel, which is about a quarter of a mile, and then you're on the bridge from Yerba Buena to San Francisco to the Embarcadero. Anyway, where all the piers are. The Embarcadero is an area in San Francisco, actually near the marina. Yeah, if San Francisco is a peninsula, because of the bay, and so the top of the peninsula is the Golden Gate Bridge. And then as you go inland through the bay, that would be this way for you. No, this way. As you look at me, you go down, and of course the Golden Gate Bridge is on toward the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and Hawaii and Japan and all that. And then you go down, and it goes all the way around San Francisco. San Francisco is the whole peninsula of San Francisco from the ocean to the bay. And then it goes around, and you get the what's it called? The military. It's kind of like a residence area. What do they call that? Anyway, the Embarcadero. But anyway, you get to the piers start, and I think it's pier. Oh yeah, it's the first piers are closest to the Golden Gate, but they don't go around that far. But then the piers. So here's the Golden Gate. The screen went off. So here's the Golden Gate goes to Marin County, and the Pacific Ocean. I just have to think it's on this side. As you look at me, I'm trying to do this so you can. And anyway, so as you go east toward along the bay, here's San Francisco. You go down, and it's got all the piers lined up around that peninsula, and it starts at one, I guess, probably. And then it goes. Oh, that's right. It's all the odd piers. I think it goes 1, 3, 5, 7. Then when it gets to like 40 or whatever it is, 39, then it goes from. Is that how it works? And then it's all the even piers. I mean, as it goes down. And of course, the bay goes like up here's San Francisco, and here's Marin. Then the bay goes, it's much bigger than San Francisco. There's other cities on the east side on the west side of the bay, as well as San Francisco. On the east side, on the west side of the bay is San Francisco. Then there's the Golden Gate Bridge. Then there's Marin County and Sausalito and Corte Madera. No, that's inland. What's that called? Anyway, there's another little island there next to Sausalito, and then wonder what that's called. It's been a while since I thought about that kind of stuff. Anyway, and then south of San Francisco, you've got Palo Alto, but that's on the. I don't think that's on. I think that's on the Pacific side. You've got. I know you've got Daly City. I think that might be the next one. You've got where the Candlestick Park, the Giants, and the San Francisco Giants baseball team plays or used to play. I don't even know if it's open anymore. I don't follow sports. And then the airport, the San Francisco airport is right there, also on the bay, surrounded by pretty much right on the bay. So you go south from San Francisco to get to the San Francisco airport, and then you got Daly City, and then you got whatever other cities, and eventually you get to Santa Clara, I think is there too, spanning that whole peninsula, and then San Jose is kind of like at the bottom of the peninsula, I think, and then Saratoga also is right down there. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot of cities around there, and then what's it called, where Tesla is, the car company, which used to be, Fremont. That's directly right around the bottom of the bay too, at the south end of the San Francisco Bay. And then as you go up, you get to places like, you go from Fremont, you go to Hayward and San Lorenzo and San Leandro, and I don't know if all of those are on bordering the bay, but they're kind of like the cities you go up as and there's kind of like hills close to the bay. The bay on the east side, and then you get to Alameda and Oakland, and then Richmond, and then San Pablo and El Cerrito, San Pablo, and then it curves around. Then you have the San Joaquin Straits, and if you go up on the east side of the north end of the bay, or toward the west a little bit, east-west, north of the north end of the San Francisco Bay, you get to Napa, the Napa Valley, and the Sonoma Valley, which is off of that. And there, in the Napa Valley, I think, is it off the Carquinez Straits? It doesn't go down that far. You have to drive inland, north of the bay, to get to Napa. It's like a half hour, 45 minutes or so from the north of the bay. If you go across at the north end of the bay, there's several bridges. There's the San Rafael Bridge, which goes from Richmond to San Rafael. That's what it's called, the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, I think. And that's where San Quentin, the prison, is. And it's right sitting on an island. It's not an island. It's just a rock outcropping from San Rafael, which is in Marin County, I believe. And then you go like an hour and you can get to the Napa Valley. And then if you keep going up the water, then you get to the Carquinez Bridge. And I think you can see the Carquinez Bridge from the San Rafael Bridge. Anyway, these are big bridges because ships go up there to navigate. Now the Carquinez, that's where they have the mothball fleet, right underneath the Carquinez Bridge, or at least they used to, where a lot of battleships are parked, from World War II. And also there's a bunch of cars parked there too, like thousands of cars. I don't know what it is, but it's a dealer holding lot, I suppose. But I've seen these videos on YouTube about how many cars that are in the world that are brand new and not even being used. I mean, we're talking thousands, tens of thousands of cars in huge lots parked in numerous places around the country, and no one's using. It just boggles the mind. What on earth is the reasoning behind it? Absolutely no relationship to human need at all. I mean, maybe God has a ace up his sleeve and everybody's going to get a car pretty soon. I mean, God has all the aces up his sleeves. He's got all of us. We all have sleeves, so not to mention love, which is infinite. Everybody born forever will have sleeves. So God has them all. Infinite. That's kind of hard to imagine. How many is infinite? Well, it's just that many times another 1,000 after that. It's hard to fathom because everything we think of is limited. I think we're taught that. I think people, being the children of God, we should understand infinity and eternity and infinite more deeply, I think. It seems, since we are the children of God, who is the creator of eternity, I think. First there was love. Love created God, and then God created us as his children with love, to embody love, to multiply love forever. So, yeah. Interesting. Thanks. Nice sharing with you today. Appreciate you being here, and drop by and have a cup of cardamom tea with me. If I had some cardamom, I'm just going to put, I don't know what cinnamon. That's right. I'm going to put some cinnamon in my spaghetti, in my, what do you call that stuff again? Stuff that's in wheat, supposedly, that's killing people, which is, anyway, the gluten. I'm going to have some cinnamon gluten tea. I think it's healthy. I mean, I would know if it makes me sick, because absolutely anything makes me sick. I'm serious. I can practically eat nothing. I can't even drink store-bought distilled water without making me kind of, know that something's wrong. But I think it's better than the tap water. I'm pretty sure of that. But it's not better than the rainwater. That's for sure. The rainwater off the roof here was great. I'm gonna get another distiller. That's all. It's waiting in my cart on eBay. I was gonna say on Craigslist. Craigslist doesn't have a cart. Anyway, so I'm just gonna buy another one of those distillers. It's like $75 or something, or 50. You can get a 1-gallon distiller if you shop on eBay for $50. And yeah. So, and the bigger ones start at about 700. So, I guess at that point you could just get 10 of the little ones, and that's 500. And you could produce 2 gallons an hour, because it takes like 5 hours to produce 5 gallons. I mean, depending on how hot it is. If it's hot, if you do it in a cold room, it's going to take a lot longer probably. I should know. I have not timed it or made any comparisons about the temperature of it. But I have air conditioning, and when it's warm, and I've got a little floor heater. So yeah, in the wintertime, it's much cooler. I'll be making distilled water, which I was doing in here too before I went to the Philippines and left my distiller in the Philippines. Then I had one and was able to make plenty of water, distilled water. Plus, it's $4 a gallon here, $4.20. Oh no, that's for 2 gallons. It's at least 2 gallons. You know, one of those plastic things with a little tap on the side. It's like a rectangular cubicle, whatever you call that, whatever that shape is called. See how smart I am? Yeah, school taught me all the right things. Anyway, it's coming. Heaven is coming. There will not be any complaints about heaven. I guarantee that. Period. Forever. From anyone. That's guaranteed. That's pretty amazing. that's pretty awesome. That's pretty much worth centering our life upon. If there is a way to make life on earth so that no one ever complains about anything, you think it's worthwhile? I'd say so. So thanks for believing in me, and believing what I believe, put it that way. And take care. It's 25:24, 25:25, there we go. Have a great day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.